The Voice used to be one of the biggest shows on TV. Millions tuned in every week to watch talented singers get their big break. It felt fresh, exciting, and most importantly, fair. If you had a great voice, you had a shot. But let's be real, something's changed. The hype is gone, the ratings are dropping, and people just aren't as excited anymore. So what happened? What made The Voice go from must-watch TV to just another forgettable singing show? Today, we're breaking down the 6 biggest reasons why The Voice just isn't what it used to be. And trust me, some of these might surprise you. The Voice used to dominate primetime TV. In its early seasons, tens of millions of people tuned in every week. It felt fresh, and the blind auditions made it stand out from other singing competitions. But now, viewership has dropped significantly, and it's clear that people are losing interest. Let's look at the numbers. Back in its prime, The Voice averaged around 12 to 14 million viewers per episode. Now, it struggles to hit even half of that. The most recent seasons have seen viewership dip below 6 million. And let's not even mention the key 18 to 49 demographic, the one advertisers care about. That number has been sinking for years. So why are people tuning out? Well, one big reason is simple: fatigue. The show has been running for over a decade with 2 seasons per year. At this point, it feels like we've seen it all before. The spinning chairs, the fake rivalries, the predictable sob stories, it's just not exciting anymore. Meanwhile, other shows have adapted. American Idol took a break and came back refreshed. America's Got Talent keeps reinventing itself with new judges and different types of acts. But The Voice? It's still doing the same thing it did back in 2011. With ratings dropping and interest fading, The Voice is at a crossroads. And unfortunately, things don't get better from here. Because next, we need to talk about one of the biggest issues killing the show: its repetitive format. The Voice had a brilliant concept when it started. The blind auditions were fresh, the spinning chairs added suspense, and the idea of picking singers purely on talent was exciting. But after more than 20 seasons, it's getting old. Every season feels the same. The coaches argue over who gets the best singer, they build their teams, there's a battle round, a knockout round, and then live performances. The format rarely changes in any meaningful way. It's predictable, and that's a problem. Viewers aren't just watching for great singers, they want surprises. They want the unexpected, but The Voice plays it safe. There's no shakeup, no real twists, and no reason to keep coming back season after season. Other talent shows have learned to evolve. America's Got Talent introduced the golden buzzer, creating viral, emotional moments. Even American Idol switched things up when it came back. But The Voice sticks to the same old formula, season after season. And let's be real, at this point, even the blind auditions aren't as exciting. In the early seasons, when a coach turned their chair, it felt like a big deal. Now, coaches turn for almost everyone, and it just doesn't feel special anymore. The lack of change is hurting the show, and when you add in some questionable coaching decisions, things only get worse. The Voice was supposed to be about talent. If you were good enough, you got a fair shot. But over the years, it's become clear. Coaches don't always make the best choices, and sometimes it feels like they're not even taking it seriously. There have been plenty of times when a clearly talented singer gets eliminated early while someone less impressive moves forward. Why? Sometimes it's about personal preference, sometimes it's about strategy, and sometimes it just makes no sense at all. Fans have called out coaches for making decisions that seem more about entertainment value than talent. They'll pick contestants who fit a certain vibe rather than the best vocalists. And in some cases, it almost feels like they're trying to make sure their favorites win rather than giving every singer a fair chance. Then there's the issue of coaches not being fully invested. Let's be honest, a lot of the big-name stars who join the show aren't really there to mentor. They're there for TV exposure. Some of them barely spend time with their team. Others make bizarre choices, eliminating singers who could have gone all the way. At the end of the day, The Voice is supposed to be about discovering new talent. But when questionable coaching decisions keep getting in the way, it's no wonder people are getting frustrated. And speaking of frustration, let's talk about what happens to the winners. Because their post-show careers, well, they're not looking too good. Winning The Voice should be a life-changing moment. It should launch a singer into stardom. But if you try to name a single Voice winner who became a household name, you might struggle. Now compare that to American Idol. Love it or hate it, that show gave us Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, Adam Lambert, and more. Even America's Got Talent has produced viral stars. But The Voice? Not so much. One of the biggest problems? The Voice focuses more on the show itself than on launching careers. The winners get a record deal, sure, but there's little follow-through. No major marketing push, no radio play, and barely any industry support. Many winners have spoken out about how they felt abandoned after the show ended. Some had their albums delayed, others never even got to release one, and a few quietly disappeared from the industry altogether. In fact, some winners have gone back to regular jobs. That's how little impact the show has on their careers. And if the winners aren't making it big, what does that say about the show's ability to find real stars? The sad truth? The Voice doesn't create stars. It creates TV moments. And once the cameras stop rolling, most of the contestants are left to figure things out on their own. And maybe that's why so many people are losing interest. If even the winners don't go anywhere, what's the point? Remember when The Voice was about the singers? Yeah, that feels like a long time ago. These days, the show focuses more on the celebrity coaches than the actual contestants. Don't get me wrong, having superstar coaches is part of the appeal. But lately, it feels like the show is more about their personalities than the talent they're supposed to be mentoring. Instead of meaningful critiques, we get rehearsed one-liners and playful rivalries. The focus has shifted from developing artists to making sure the coaches are entertaining. And the producers know this. That's why they keep bringing in huge names. Ariana Grande, Nick Jonas, Camila Cabello. Not necessarily because they're great coaches, but because they bring in viewers. Here's the thing. Many contestants have admitted they barely get time with their coach. Most of the mentoring comes from assistants and vocal trainers, while the celebrity coaches mainly show up for the big TV moments. At this point, the show isn't about finding the best singer. It's about which coach has the biggest personality, and that's a huge problem. Here's the truth. People don't watch TV the way they used to, and that's a big reason why The Voice isn't as popular anymore. These days, if you want to find new artists, you don't need a singing competition. You just open TikTok, YouTube, or Spotify. Independent musicians are building massive followings without ever stepping on a TV stage. And here's the crazy part. Some of these unsigned independent artists are more successful than The Voice winners. That's because the music industry has changed. It's not about reality TV competitions anymore. It's about who can connect with an audience online, who can create viral moments, and who can build their own brand. TV singing competitions just aren't as relevant as they used to be. The audience has moved on, and instead of adapting, The Voice has mostly stayed the same. The show's core audience is aging, and younger viewers aren't tuning in. Why would they? They have an entire world of music at their fingertips. At the end of the day, The Voice isn't a bad show, it's just outdated. And unless it finds a way to evolve, it's only going to keep fading into the background. Let's be honest, The Voice was a great show. It gave us incredible performances, unforgettable moments, and a fresh take on singing competitions. But somewhere along the way, it lost what made it special. The ratings are dropping. The format feels tired. The coaches seem more interested in their own screen time than in actually mentoring artists. And worst of all, the show isn't creating real stars. Meanwhile, music has moved on. You don't need a TV show to get discovered anymore. Social media has changed everything, and The Voice just hasn't kept up. So what's next? Can The Voice make a comeback? Maybe. But it needs to evolve. It needs to take risks, shake things up, and actually invest in its winners if it wants to stay relevant. Because right now, the magic is gone. And if something doesn't change soon, The Voice might not be around much longer. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. and we'll see you next time.